24, about 22 degree, 27. Hello people of the internet, it's your favorite shop dwelling Sarah here with an all-new truck review. Today I have the 2022 GMC Sierra AT4X. It is the highest off-road capable luxurious GMC Sierra you can get. This is a gloss black $80,000 truck with locking diffs. That is a detailing nerd's nightmare. But today I'm gonna get this thing up in the lift, hope it doesn't squish me. We're gonna check out how this thing is constructed, take a look at the suspension this thing's got, and then I'm gonna take it out in the desert and get it dirty and see what this thing can do. The first thing you're going to notice when I drive this thing is it is nowhere near as good sounding as the Silverado ZR2 because that had the optional Borla exhaust. Oh, that's awesome. It's got an exact matching spare wheel and everything. But this one is filled with air, not nitrogen. You'll notice green valve caps on all the other ones. That's because they're nitrogen filled. It's got a nice little plastic cover over the Reese hitch. I like that. Also worth mentioning, the inner fender liner structure is backed with metal. It's not just all flimsy cardboard or plastic. Getting to the stuff that actually matters though, you can see it does have a solid rear axle with leafs, obviously, because it's a body-on-frame truck, fully boxed frame. And the rear axle, 3.23 final drive ratio, but it's an electronic locker. The AT4X comes with front and rear e-lockers. In addition to that, you'll notice there's a lift block underneath your relief pack because this has a 2-inch lift over your standard models of Sierra. Even with all those upgrades though, this should not be compared against a Raptor or a Ram T-Rex despite the price because it doesn't have a multi-link rear end and a panhard bar. What you do get though are these massive Multimatic DSSV dampers that come on the Silverado ZR2. These guys right here give you an additional 50 millimeters of front travel and 25 millimeters of rear travel over an AT4 Sierra, which equates to a total of 9.8 inches front and 10.6 inches rear suspension travel. Holy nuts, that's a big ass drive shaft though. Look at the size of this thing. It's all aluminum. As far as underbody protection goes, there really isn't much going on in the rear of the truck. I mean, the plastic fuel tank will slide over rocks fairly well to a certain extent, and the muffler can just get dented because that can be replaced with a Borla. The transfer case has got a nice steel skid plate, and then there's nothing under the transmission pan, but underneath the oil pan, you get a thick aluminum one. Yep, that's beefy. That's interesting. There's a bung plug welded to the front of the muffler. That's some fat piping on this thing. 86 millimeter diameter piping, and for you SAE folk, it's 3.5 inches. That's f***ing big piping on this thing. Holy shit. That's an interesting location for the evap canister. It's protected by this cross member. That right there is your AutoTrack 2-speed transfer case, and whoever was using the green paint pen was apparently drunk at work that day. Your transmission cross member is removable. It's also fully boxed. As far as the transmission goes, there's only one available at the AT4X Sierra, and that is the 10L80 10-speed automatic transmission, which was jointly developed between Ford and General Motors. Has a maximum torque input of 800 Newton meters or 590 pound-feet. Your front anti-sway bar measures in at approximately 33 millimeter. It's got 3.5 inch piping everywhere else, but that crossover under your oil pan is flat like a pancake. The AT4X does have an independent front suspension. You'll notice if you come around here, the Multimatic DSSV damper, and again, with the paint marker. Man, someone was just having an arts and crafts session underneath here. Just going to town with that paint marker. Time for the braking test. No one behind me. Ready? Oh geez. There goes all my shit. It's a lot of mass coming to a stop. It did it though. Relatively drama-free. That braking was accomplished thanks to a set of 13.1 inch or 330 millimeter front rotors with a 4-piston caliper. The wheels special to the AT4X, they're a gloss black 18 by 8.5s, and they are wrapped in a 275/65 Goodyear Wrangler DuraTrack tire, which I am a huge fan of these tires. I have not been disappointed by any vehicle I've ever reviewed off-road that was equipped with these. Out back, you have a larger 13.6-inch or 345mm rear rotor, thanks to having the parking brake drum in the center, with a little itty-bitty single pot caliper. And the wheel and the tire are the same size as the front. And no, these are not some running boards for your Uncle Hank with bad knees. These are some rock rails to protect your rocker panels from getting munched. In the name of science, I am now going to give this thing the beans. First, I gotta do a bolstering check. No, I'm not doing a bolstering check. There is no bolstering to these seats. It has multiple settings for the heated seats, back and butt, or just back, and then of course they are ventilated, which I have to have that on full blast today. As far as drive modes go, I have a bunch of off-road ones that we'll get to in a bit, and I'm gonna leave it in normal. Can I lock my rear diff in two-wheel drive? Hell yeah, you can. That's awesome. I will select for auto, and I'm also going to defeat traction control. Give this thing a little assistance and see what it can do. Ready? Go. Ooh, that was a little bit spicy. Yeah, just like the Silverado ZR2. It's not slow. That's good. This thing's got some beans. Hood struts, thank you. Underneath the hood of this 22 Sierra AT4X is the L86, which is an all aluminum 6.2 liter overhead valve V8 that produces 420 horsepower at 5,600 RPM and 460 pound-feet of torque at 4,100 RPM. Yep, that's a good old-fashioned American pushrod V8 right there. Something that is sadly not long for this world. And it's definitely like an engine in a bathtub, because this is a deep, cavernous engine bay, which would actually make it kind of difficult to get up into to work on unless you can sit in here. Plastic valve covers? Nope, you were just a plastic cover over the valve cover. Valve cover is down there and it looks aluminium. The engine is pretty tucked up underneath the wiper cowl. If you look right here, it's about the front of the engine. If I come back, it's actually about center line on your front axle. The 6.2 liter V8 is the only engine available you can get in the AT4X model. There is other engines available on the other models of Sierra, like a 2.7 liter turbo 4-cylinder, and also a smaller Duramax diesel for the 1500 series trucks, which I'm interested in. I have not driven one of those yet. Now, digging in a little bit deeper on this L86, it has 103.25 millimeter by 92 millimeter bore in stroke. This is port injection only. It does have GM's dynamic fuel management system though, and also has variable valve timing despite being an overhead valve engine. Also, I want to point this out. While I do love the fact that this is not a chrome grille, I like the color of it. Up close, it's super splotchy looking. And now this could just be a detailing product that was improperly applied on here, but I don't think so. I don't know. All right, it's time to start off this off-road segment with the hill climb test. And I'm gonna tackle the usual hill with this because I wanna see how easy it is with a properly set up truck with some lockers and good quality tires on here. I am not lowering the tire pressure though, leaving it at the default pressure, which is 45, 44, 43, 42. That's ironic. Anyway, I'm going to go to my mode selector and I'm going to select terrain, which automatically puts it in 4 high. I don't think 4 low is necessary for this. And as far as the locking diffs go, I'm not gonna lock them. I gotta give this thing some sort of a challenge. So let's try it just in 4 high in terrain mode. Oh yeah, terrain mode is 1 pedal, that's right. Takes a lot of throttle input. Got 25.5 degrees of approach and 11.1 inches of ground clearance. I gotta give it the beans a little bit. So clearance-wise, I shouldn't have too much of an issue with this. Oh yeah, that was easy. That's what a good set of tires will do right there. I feel a lot of the little crossovers and smaller SUVs, unibody-based SUVs I test on this that struggle, if you put a set of tires like this on it, it makes a world of a difference. I'm gonna spice things up a bit and try this more difficult hill. Front and rear diffs are locked. It's in terrain mode, 4 low, should be no problem. And because this thing has a heads-up display, I can actually see my angle on the windshield. I'm at 13, 15, 16, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, about 22 degree, 27, holy shit, okay. And that's why it's a good thing it's got those rock sliders on the side. That was steep. That was super steep. These are absolutely worth it. Because look at that, they didn't even scuff the powder coating on them. These things are super tough. Now we're gonna go back down a steeper hill, because why not? Ooh, geez. This one pedal driving thing's a little touchy to get used to. That's a deep ravine, I don't wanna go into that. Make sure I maneuver my tire around it. Doesn't look like it's deep on the GoPro, but it is. Now my departure is about 23 degrees, so should have no issue. It's a long truck though. I get nervous driving this thing off-road just because of the fact that it's black. I mean, it looks fucking good in the process while it's doing it. This area right here, I don't know if this truck's gonna be able to do it because of its length. It's got a 22.7 degree breakover. I do have those rock sliders, but I'm gonna try not to use them. So I gotta be really smart with my angle here. I have it in 4 low, terrain mode, and diffs locked, just to keep this thing kind of stable. I want to take this one really nice and slow. I love that I can see where the hell I'm going on this cam, because otherwise I'm just looking at the sky right now. Front, back, side to side, trailer, the sides, the hitch, 360. That's pretty sweet. This side over here is what I want to watch. Now I gotta keep it to the, oh yeah. I still hit it. I gotta keep it to the left. See, I was hoping I could do this segment without relying on those. But that's what they're there for. Don't put them on the truck unless they're intended to be used. This area over here I might also scrape. Come on. Oh, I'm gonna scrape for sure. Just gentle. Just a little bit. Just a little bit at the tail end. Oh, I'm off. I'm off of it. Okay, good. I mean, it did it. It definitely did it. It's capable of doing this stuff. Stabilitrack working overtime right there. On road, this thing is comfortable, super comfy. It feels big though. It feels like you're driving an HD truck. It has a large presence, especially when it comes to braking at a sudden, like to turn into a road or something. You can feel the mass of this truck. It's a nice place to be on the inside though. I mean, this thing is packed full of tech features and it's clean the way it's laid out, the gauge cluster. It's visually appealing, I'll give it that. And it has tons of features built into it. Trailer tow package, just as standard with this truck too. I kept thinking this was the wireless phone charger, but it's not. It's just a little cubby you can put your smartphone, but the phone charger is actually down here. This little slot is your wireless charger. The entire headliner of this thing is all covered in micro suede. That's pretty fancy for an off-road truck. And this little cubby opens up. You could put some road sodas in there. The dash is like leather wrapped plastic that's stitched. It looks pretty. And the back seat's not a barren wasteland back there. You got heat as well as some USB-C ports. I'm a huge fan of GMC's origami tailgate back there, and I know it's not called an origami tailgate, but I'm calling it an origami tailgate because that's what it is. It's functional, it's super functional, and it's nice because there's a lot of times where this truck's pretty high and you need to be able to step up into it if you're carrying something, so love that. My only complaints on the exterior was the fact that the grille has that weird splotchiness to it, but it's strange because over on the side of the fenders where it says 6.2 liter V8, it has that same bronze finish and it doesn't have that splotchiness. It's fuel economy wise, it's a big heavy V8 powered truck, so fuel economy wasn't the greatest, but it sounds good. Yeah, beans. StabiliTrak working overtime right there. I guess the best way to summarize this thing is it's a more luxurious version of the Silverado ZR2. I mean, it's kind of common sense, it's just GMC Sierra, that's what Sierras are. But it's a little strange to me because the Silverado ZR2 is supposed to be a rugged off-road machine, and this is too, but this is also trying to be a luxury truck, it's almost Denali-like, but with off-road capabilities. And it's trying to do two different things at once instead of just going full in on one of them. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just maybe this is a truck for contractors that go to rugged job sites that like to be bougie because they are in charge of lots of people that build things.
It is now time for some scores. Starting with the world-class bean standard, the one and the only, the assessment on a 1 to 5 scale based on the feeling you get in your gut when you give it the beans. And that Sierra right there is getting a rating of 1.7 beans. It's a pretty quick truck. It's missing the Borla exhaust that was on the Silverado ZR2 that I reviewed. That truck sounded so fucking good. This thing absolutely needs it. Next is the cookie score, is assessment on a 1 to 5 scale based on what you get for what you spend. My stomach is growling. I hope that didn't get picked up on camera because that would be really embarrassing. Will it stop growling now? That would be nice. I'm hungry, okay? I skipped lunch to film this. Anyway, this truck right here, as it is equipped at over $80,000, is getting a rating of 2.3 cookies. Now hear me out. It's not that I don't think this is a nice truck. It's super luxurious on the inside. It's absolutely gorgeous in black. This is a pretty truck. And that's the problem. It's supposed to be super off-road capable and it's $80,000. That will get you a ton of other highly capable off-road rigs, some that are better off-road than this. Next is the meatball score. It's an assessment on a 1 to 5 scale of a truck's off-road capabilities. And the Sierra AT4X is getting a rating of 3.1 meatball. It does great off-road. I would put it on par with a TRD Pro Tundra or a Ford F-150 Tremor, but for the price, it flat out does not compete against a Ram T-Rex or a Ford Raptor. It doesn't, but it's luxurious. Next is the mechanic score. It is assessment on how simple something would be to maintain on a 1 to 5 scale, 5 being easy, 1 being abysmal. And this truck right here is getting a rating of 2.5 inches. It's a fairly simple recipe. It's a body on frame V8 4x4 truck. Lastly though is the Penguin score. It's assessment on a 1 to 5 scale based on how much I personally like something. And this AT4X is getting a rating of 2.9 penguins. I enjoyed my week driving around in this truck. It's a good looking truck and it's comfortable to ride in, but personally, I'm more of a fan of the GMC Canyon than the Sierra. That's just the size of truck that I prefer. I like smaller trucks, especially with off-roading. And yeah, it doesn't mean I don't like the truck. It's just, there's a lot of other things I'd spend $80,000 on. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this review and I will see you soon with another. Bye.